It's that time of the month again, guys. You know what it is. Attack on Titan chapter 97 is out, and we got so much to talk about. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. I knew right away that this chapter was going to be fantastic just by the way it opened. I mean, we get Annie, but not just regular old Annie. Oh no, we get pigtail and glasses Annie. Now, guys. Y'all know I've always said how cute Annie was, but oh my lord, I am in love. If I've never said this before, thank you, Isayama. You are a good man. I appreciate you. Can we please get more Annie like this in the future? I am begging you. Anyways, the chapter starts off with Annie secretly following a man who she hopes will lead her to the true king. But when she lets her guard down, the man appears behind her, and it turns out to be none other but Kenny Ackerman himself. Now, I was so happy to see Kenny Ackerman again. And of course, Annie tries to play it off as the reason she was following him because secretly he really is her father. But of course, Kenny is an Ackerman, so he sees right through this crap. And then Annie has no choice but to fight him. But that didn't go good, so as soon as she created a little bit of space, she retreated to the sewers in order to get away from him. Seeing Kenny and Annie confront each other like this was such a great thing to see, and you guys know what that means now. Annie has now faced all three of the surviving Ackermans that we know about and has lived to tell the story. At the very least, this girl deserves a gold star or something like that. Because we all know how terrifying the Ackermans can be. They have the Beast Titan and the Armored Titan scared to come back to Paradise again just because their presence is there. So Annie, high five girl, gold star. Matter of fact, even more of a gold star for those pigtails and their glasses. Later on that night, we see Rainer, Bert, and Annie outside talking in the field, and Annie fills them in on what happened with Kenny. She tells him how skilled that he was and that she almost got caught and that there's a high chance that he may have seen her face. So her plans are kind of ruined now because even if she does get into the military police, with Kenny being around inside the inner wall, he knows what she looks like, so her options are now going to be limited in the things that she can do. She then suggests that they take all the information they have gathered back to the Marley because they've been gone for 5 years at this point, and after 5 years she is sure that the Marley government would take whatever information they have collected warmly with open arms. Rainer, however, disagrees, and yet again he talks them out of it, and he decides that the only course of action to take is to break down Wall Rose. But his reasoning actually kind of makes sense. His reasoning goes that when the trainees are in the Trost district, the Survey Corps will be out on a scouting mission. So once the Titans get inside, the walls will fall into chaos and the trainees will have no choice but to fight. He says there will be lots of death going on, so even if their bodies aren't found, it wouldn't matter because everybody would just assume they're dead anyways. And after that, they'll mix in with all of the refugees and make their way into the capital, and so that way they will have a much easier time moving around and trying to follow all of the king's movements because they'll be in the inner city with him, so they think that they'll be able to keep a closer eye on him that way. Annie then asked him something that I was shocked to hear her say. She asked, "Is that okay that we're going to destroy this wall with only the trainees there? All of the friends you have made will probably die." So Rainer, once again showing his loyalty to the Marley, tells her that these people are not his friends. They are the Eldian devils, and he is only manipulating them to gain their trust, and that she should do the same and stop being such a loner. Here's another point in the story where Annie shows us again her dislike for Rainer. She tells him that he is way too close to her and that she is about to vomit. And if you look off in the corner, you'll see Berto looking at him with this really weird look in his face. Perhaps jealousy, perhaps not. I'm gonna let you guys decide that on your own. Poor Bert. So here's the point where this chapter really starts to get jumbled up. We see Eren failing to be able to use his 3D MG, and he asks Rainer for advice. He says, "What do I have to do to be like you or Mikasa?" If I keep on like this, then I'll die without having accomplished a single thing. This line resonates with Reiner because when they were in Titan training to get their Titan powers, he was the weakest of all of the warriors. And no matter what he did, there were always people who were better than him and looking down on him. Now, this is going to be very important later on in this chapter, so put this in the back of your mind because we're coming back to this in a bit. His response to Eren is, just do what has to be done. Just keep on moving forward because there's nothing more that you can do. And after that, we get a barrage of images from some of the earlier events in the story, such as when Eren first became a Titan, when Marco was eaten, when Annie and Reiner went and killed Sonny and Bean, the two Titans that Hanji had captured, when Bert and Reiner were on top of the walls and they revealed their Titan identities, and the very last scene is one that actually made me tear up a little bit. It was a scene right before the battle inside of Wall Maria took place. We see Reiner and Bert on top of the walls, and they're telling each other that they can trust each other and that they'll have each other's backs and they can always count on each other. But as we know, sadly, this was going to be the last time that those two ever spoke because shortly after, Bertolt was killed. And I know I said this last chapter too, but I keep forgetting that Bert is dead because for the last, 6-7 months, we've heard about him constantly. So it's just hard to remember sometimes that he was actually eaten when he's constantly in your face. So then we get an image of Reiner and Eren together where Reiner tells him, "What's wrong? I thought you said you were going to destroy every single Titan. If it's you, I know that you can do it." I don't think I even need to point out the relevance of this line, but just in case you don't understand, just keep watching this video because you'll understand in a little bit. We then immediately pan back to the post time skip and we see Reiner with a gun in his mouth. He is about to kill himself. Isayama, why? This panel really pulled on my heartstrings, guys. I mean, we all know that Reiner is in an extremely bad situation right now, and we all know all the things that are going on with him. But seeing that rifle fully loaded by him and put into his mouth, ready to kill himself, while reminiscing on all of his memories that he had with the Survey Corps and all of his time inside the walls, it just really hurt me, man. Like, I really like Reiner as a character, despite what he's done, and just seeing this it brought up the feels, y'all. But before he's able to pull the trigger of the rifle, Falco beats on the wall and he stops. He realizes that he has way too much to do to die. He still has to help Falco out, and he still, most importantly, has to save humanity, which I believe that he will do in one shape or another before this manga is over with. We then change to Falco's point of view, and we get some pretty interesting scenes. He's walking down the road and he's beating himself up because he still isn't strong enough to stop Gabby from inheriting the Armored Titan power, and then he randomly stumbles at the hospital. Do you guys remember a few chapters ago when a bunch of us thought that Eren was actually infiltrating the Marley? Well, hold on to your hats because this chapter may have given us a good bit more evidence to support that. The wounded soldier, who we all think is Eren, calls out to Falco and thanks him for helping him a few chapters earlier. The soldier says that he is at the hospital for PTSD treatment, but he's actually lying about that. He told the staff that he had amnesia and that he couldn't find his way back home, but truthfully, he just didn't want to go back home because he didn't want to face his family because it's hard for him to show them his face again. He then notices Falco's injuries, and Falco tells him that it's all from the warrior's training, and that he probably won't be strong enough to become a Titan warrior, to which the wounded soldier replies and said, "Good." He tells Falco that he's a good kid with a good heart, and he hopes that he is able to live a long, happy life without the power of a Titan inside of him. Falco is kind of confused by that and tells him that he has no choice. He has to become a warrior in order to stop another person from becoming one of them. And then the wounded soldier asks if it's a girl, and then Falco tells him all about Gabby. He tells him about how amazing Gabby is, and that compared to her, he's a weakling. He's so weak that he'll probably die without accomplishing a single thing. So here we go again with that same phrase. The same phrase that Eren said to Reiner back in their training days, we now have Falco saying to this random soldier. I think at this point, this is obviously more evidence to say that this soldier is indeed Eren Yeager, especially with his reaction to the statement. Which, if this is actually Eren, he has definitely matured a lot over the last 4 years. He also seems to finally understand how romantic relationships can be huge motivators in the daily lives of people, which is definitely not how he was 4 years prior, where remember when Marlo and Hitch were talking about joining the Survey Corps or not, and he didn't want her to because he actually liked her, but Eren couldn't understand that. So yeah, he's definitely matured a good bit. And that's not the only way he's matured though. He talks about how the people who are looking on the outside of war, if they actually go into it and see the hell that war is and how it breaks down your body and mind, that nobody would ever want to go into it. Compare that to the Eren that we all know and love, who just wants to run headfirst into war and is just headstrong and determined to kill every single Titan no matter what. He ends up ending the conversation with this really nice long monologue that I am definitely gonna break down in another video, so please look forward to that, guys. Like, oh god, that monologue was great. Isayama and his staff did a fantastic job with that. It really shows, if this is Eren, it really shows how much his character has developed in these last few chapters. But this is the important part, so listen carefully. At the end of the conversation, Falco calls the wounded soldier Mr. Kruger. Possibly Eren Kruger? One of Eren's predecessors for the Attack Titan, and another person who disguised themselves as a Marley soldier and worked their way up through the government in order to help the Eldians from the inside. Basically 100% betraying the Marley and helping all of the Eldians restore their old way of life before they were enslaved by the Marley. This is further evidence, possibly signaling that this may be Eren. I mean, come on guys, I don't understand how this can't be Eren. There are just too many factors that are just too perfect for it to be coincidental. But I guess it's not confirmed, so we can't say 100% yet, but this has to be Eren. Just like, come on now. Anyways though, he asks Falco to do him a favor and mail a letter to his family for him. He says that he can't do it because if he sends the letter, the Marley will check the contents of his message and they will find out that he is faking. He says that he wants to let his family know that he has made it safe there and that he is okay. Again, this is another double meaning because if this is Eren, then they're talking more about faking to be a Marley citizen than faking amnesia. I mean, I don't understand why it would be such a big deal to see that he was faking amnesia. The worst case scenario is that they would just send him home. So inside this letter may be Eren's true mission inside of the Marley, if this is him. Oh goodness, this chapter seems like it's so long and I feel like I've been talking forever and we still haven't even gotten to the biggest reveal yet. We finally met the Tiber family. They came to pay a visit to Theo, who is the commander of all of the Titan warriors. The head of the family introduces himself as Billy, and he asks Theo to go outside to talk with him. And this is where things get good. After some idle chat, Billy tells Theo that he came all the way here to see the statue of the human who destroyed the devil of the earth and saved the world hundreds of years ago. Billy talks about how he is truly the spirit of the Marley, to which Theo says, yeah, that's right, because the inside of that statue is hollow, just like the Marley is. Theo is an absolute savage. Like, I can understand where Annie got it from. That's all I'm gonna say because, yeah, that dude is real. Theo then goes on to say how the Marley will never stop going to war until it gets totally destroyed, which is pretty interesting because do you guys remember back in I think the Uprising arc? I think it was Erwin who said something similar about how humanity will never stop fighting until the population reaches 1. So again, we're getting more and more parallels between the two sides of the opposing factions in the story. Theo then goes on to say that if there is someone secretly controlling the Marley from behind the scenes, he wants to tell them all this. And guys, hold on to your seats. This is where we get the biggest reveal in a long time. The Marley is actually under the control of the Tiber family. A Titan shifting family is in control of the Eldians' biggest problem. Oh, the irony. Billy then introduces himself and tells Theo that he is the Warhammer Titan and that he has all of his ancestors' memories. They gave the Marley their freedom and strength, and that all of his memories leads him in his day-to-day life and the way he conducts himself within the Marley government. He tells him that the Tiber family have always been observing. They've observed the Marley taking all of the Eldians and doing whatever they want to, and that all of the darkness that has befallen, all of the responsibility lies with them for non-intervention. He then tells us that there is a rebellion bubbling in Paradise, and that the upcoming festival will be the point where they reveal everything. So now I'm curious to know how he even knows what's going on in Paradise, but more importantly, what is going on in Paradise? Has Astoria done something radical, or has Eren and the other members of the Survey Corp taken things to the extreme again? I just know that I cannot wait to find out, because I am sure that Isayama got something major planned for us very soon. Before Billy leaves, he tells Theo that Marley is now in need of another hero, and at this point we get one frame of Zeke, possibly signaling that they think that Zeke will be the one who will become their hero, or maybe it's just a random transition. We don't know, but it might have significant meaning after all. The chapter ends with Falco mailing the letter that the mysterious soldier left for him, and we are left with the phrase, "The curtain rises," which feels both hopeful and ominous to me. Guys, I know we've all been wondering this for a very long time, but is this truly gonna be the final arc of Attack on Titan coming up? There's so many unanswered questions, and this chapter only raises more questions. I mean, it gave us these big reveals, but now I'm curious about the other things. What's gonna happen at this festival? With the reveal of the Tiber family being in control of the Marley, so many things could be seen in a new light, and I can't wait to see how some of the characters react. Like, there's so much I want to talk about, but this video is already running extremely long, so I guess I'll save this discussion for another video if you guys will be interested in seeing it. But anyways, I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Do you guys think this is actually Eren? Who do you think that this letter is going to be sent to? Is Billy Tiber really the true villain in the Attack on Titan story? Guys, there's so much that we need to find out. But be sure to comment down below and let me know anything you think. Oh, I can't believe we gotta wait another month for this. Oh, this month wait is gonna kill me. But yeah, as always guys, be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this for more Attack on Titan content. And hey, until the next video guys, best wishes.